Hey guys, Ashley here. I just wanted to come on and do kind of a review in general about historical romance. It won't be about any one particular book. I actually have three that I want to share. But this is kind of in response to the 50 Shades of Crap video I posted last week. I wanted to come on and show you what I think is a proper romance and to show you characters who you can really root for and who you can fall in love with. Because let's face it, ladies, Christian Grey is an awful hero, and the heroine is even worse. So let's just go on and get started. The first book that I picked out is A Lady Never Surrenders by Sabrina Jeffries. This one is her last book in the Hellions of Halstead Hall. The reason I think this is a good romance is because A, the woman chooses who she wants to fall in love with. B, there are some hardships, some ups and downs, but they both fight for what they want. She is actually the youngest child in this family, and the whole premise of the Hellion series is that their grandmother gave them this ultimatum that within a year all of them had to be married or none of them got their inheritance. And so one by one they've succumbed to love and married the person that they fell in love with. So this is Lady Celia. She's the youngest girl, well, the youngest child, even though she's not really a child anymore. But she falls in love with a Bow Street runner. For anyone who doesn't know, that's kind of like the police force in Regency England. So there's also an underlying plot of trying to solve the Hellions' parents' murder from when they were kids. To me, this is a good historical romance to read. It has love and there's action, there's a plot, there's characters that you can root for and that you want them to fall in love. Sometimes in these books you kind of want to just slap all of them and say, why don't you know what I know as a reader? I do that quite often, but it's kind of a book formula in most genres. So this is a proper one to read. But I suggest not starting with this one. I suggest starting with The Truth of Lord Stoneville. That's the first one in a 5-book series. They are kind of standalone, but as I said, there is that underlying plot of trying to solve the parents' murders. And you actually solve it at the end of this book. So it's quite exciting. The next book that I have up here is Sarah MacLean's latest novel. It came out earlier this year, I think. This is A Rogue by Any Other Name. This is starting a new series for her also. And she's a relatively new writer. She's only had books coming out for probably the last 2 or 3 years. Her previous series, and I don't have the books with me, I'm really sorry, it's the Numbers, Love by Numbers series, I think is what she calls them. And my favorite book out of that series is called 10 Ways to be Adored When Landing a Lord. And that's quite a title, but it's just fantastic. And this one is too. This is actually, the hero is in charge of a gaming hell, and he's quite wicked. But she knows that she wants to love him, and he knows that he wants to love her, even though it may take them a couple of chapters in this book. I don't know the time frame of all the books, but they pick someone they want to be with, and it's a loving relationship, and there's passion, but there's also compassion, and there's negotiating, and it's two intelligent people knowing what they want but what they can give also, and it's a give and take relationship. And that's why I really like romance novels. It's not porn for women. I personally don't like when there's too many sex scenes. I think over 2 is killing it because it takes away from the story. I don't believe in sex just for sex in a book. It needs to help the story move along and actually add something to the characters. Sex needs to add something to the story. It doesn't need to be in there just to be in there. I don't think. I don't like those books. I started one book one time, and it was 50 pages in, and they had already had sex like 3 times. No, it was not 50 Shades of Grey. Some other romance novel. And he's like, I'm going to make you my mistress. And she's like, oh, no. And then she's immediately, okay, I'm going to be his mistress. No, that's not romance at all. So needless to say, I stopped reading that. Anyway, the final book that I have that I think is a proper romance is Julia Quinn's The Last Duke of Wyndham, and really any book by any of these authors. Proper romances. They're all about love, finding that person to share your life with. And romances aren't for everyone. I'm not saying everyone should go and pick up these books right away because they're completely amazeballs and whatnot. But these are the types of books that I like to read when compared to crap like 50 Shades of Grey. So anyway, those are my 3 recommendations out of a whole ton of the romance genre. Those are 3 of my favorite authors. I own every book by Julia Quinn, and I'm sad to say that I don't own every one by Sabrina Jeffries or Sarah McLean, but those are my to-buy list. I have read them all. Most of them. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys later.